often said that one of the legacies for the United Church is their camping programs. However, like many other denominations, the United Church sometimes faces struggles as their camps attempt to redefine themselves in what is the new age in church camping. Matthew Penny recently went to Pearce Williams Christian Centre to talk to Joe Richards, who is the director there and a strong advocate for a camping ministry.
Well, Joe, a couple of years ago, you and I talked, and we had a great chat, and one of the things you said was that camping might be the legacy of the United Church of Canada, one of our really great legacies. How do you feel? Is that still true today? Do you feel that way?
That's a great question. Years bring wisdom that you don't have at that particular moment in time, and I think that it's still true. I believe that it can be. Whether it will be is a whole other question, because you need people to buy into that thought. We continue to lose churches, but the other thing that has started to happen is we're now starting to lose camps.
Oh, I didn't know that. We're losing camps.
Hamilton Conference lost Ganadawe a couple of years ago, or they shut it, and they're going to put it up for sale if it's not already sold. I haven't followed that story.
Well, that's something I don't think a lot of people know. You know, we get the impression, we hear about camps, and camps, I thought, were still very strong. Pearce Williams, here where you are as director, seems to be doing very well.
Thank you. I believe Pearce Williams is doing really well. And earlier we were discussing, we have a 10-year plan in place, and we have drawings. But the more that I stay within United Church Camping, the more that I realize where we are is not where everyone is, and I understand that. And part of me wants to help everyone along to get to a place, but part of me is also thinking that there's potential that maybe everyone can't get to this place, and then as camps they need to decide, you know, what is their core mission? Is their core mission Christian children's summer camping? And can they complete that mission?
Is it fair to say that perhaps you talked about camps declining, that maybe the United Church of Canada had too many, and to have a fewer number of stronger camps where the resources, perhaps we are presbyteries, each presbytery had a camp in London Conference, for example, and that meant 8 or 9 camps, that maybe it'd be better to have just a few camps shared by a presbytery where they're strong and there's more resources to put into plans and things.
I'll get behind that one.
Yeah?
I think that London Conference is the anomaly in the United Church of Canada, in the sense that every presbytery at one point had its own summer camp, or has currently its own summer camp. And I think that as you look at other conferences, that doesn't exist.
Okay.
The fact that I can drive to 8 other summer camps and not all of them are within an hour and a half of our laneway. That's
a lot of camps.
That is a lot of camps. And some of them, you know, success is the word, right? What is, you know, summer camp success is, there's 2 ways to look at that, right? You can go with the camper count, right? So we have, let's say you're a camp that has 800 campers, and that's success for you. Whereas part of, you know, Elgin Presbytery, where we are as Pearce Williams, is one of the, if not the smallest presbytery in Canada, the smallest presbytery. Yeah. We as Pearce Williams are the 2nd largest camp in Canada for the United Church of Canada, the number of beds that we have on site.
Wow, in the smallest presbytery.
In the smallest presbytery. I'm not sure how it happened. It was like that when I got here. But we don't have a huge camper count. So we don't go to the 800 or 900 level. We're somewhere between 450 and 550 is where we are, which for the smallest presbytery in Canada, I'm totally okay with. But more importantly, at the end of the year, are you in the red or are you in the black, right? Like you want, because to continue the mission, if you're always running a deficit, you simply can't continue that mission.
Well, the business end is important, and I recognize that. But isn't there not an argument, but isn't there a thought too that what's important is the Christian work that's done with the kids who come to camp? And isn't that, you know, isn't there an argument to be made that the United Church as a whole, and presbyteries each, should be spending significant money to underwrite the costs of a camp, because we're doing Christian work, and this is, I don't want to use the old word too much, evangelism perhaps, but it's introducing kids to a Christian message they might not otherwise get.
For sure, and I think that if the United Church as a whole, or if individual presbyteries gave more money, if they had that money to give, yes, that would solve part of that challenge. A camp like us, like Pearce Williams, what we've done is we underwrite that with all of the other things we do. right? So
you rent in the winter and you do...
We rent in the winter, we rent in the summer. Like tomorrow, kids will go home at 3 o'clock, staff will clean, and then we have a group of 175 youth coming out through the Christian Reformed Church.
Oh, okay.
They'll show up at 6 o'clock. Like there's a very tight turnaround, but we rent it out for the whole weekend to them.
Right.
And that's $8,000–9,000 in income, right? So
and that makes a big difference in the course of the year.
Makes a huge difference. And so if you can underwrite the cost of your camp with what else you do, right? So with the rentals and with the additional things, then that will help you be more successful in terms of finances. You might not reach as many kids because more kids doesn't always equal more income, because we don't charge what it truly costs for kids to come to camp.
With that disconnect, what's going to happen then? I think of other camps, and I don't want to mention any, but there are other names in London Conference that just run a straight summer camp for the Christian kids they get, and they run about 7 or 8 weeks at most a year. And they're pushed for funds. They're always having to do fundraising. They're like little churches that are just hanging on. What's their future then?
That's a great question. There's various ways to look at that future, and to look at it positively, you could do things like central management of the camp, which is hard when you have such emotion attached to these camps. You know, my home camp is in Kent Presbytery, and such emotion. Right, my parents met at Kennesary.
Wow.
Both my brothers met their wives at Kennesary.
Wow.
And the challenge is whenever you have other camps, and if they're only spring and summer programs, right? Some school programs and some summer programs, if you do the finances correctly, I don't think there's an issue. I think that you can run that program and be fine. I think that always struggling for money is the same as many small churches. It will eventually get to them, and unless they have a plan as to how to get out of it. Our board has worked really hard over the past couple of years to create a vision of the future for Pearce, and it's a vision that I've taken to conference office, and I've shown to the United Way locally so that they know what we're doing, and that helps because then people say, well, wow, at least they're thinking ahead. It's not like it's all of a sudden going to surprise me and say, oh well, we need to close next summer. No, that's not in our that's not in the plan. It's planning ahead, and it's thinking through all of the aspects of what camp is, because the core mission is Christian Children's Summer Camp. Yep, so even though we do we rent out the facility, all of the funds from those go back to funding the core mission, which is Christian Children's Summer Camp. So,
and from what I've seen so far, you're successful.
Thank you.
And it's doing good. Well, I hope you have best of luck with your 10-year plan, and we're going to keep an eye on that so that we can bring people up to date as time goes forward.
Perfect.
And thank you for seeing us today.
Not a problem. Have a great day.
You too.
We appreciate your feedback on the show, or if you have any upcoming events in your faith community, please contact Doug Croden by emailing doug@anchorvideo.com. If you'd like to view any of our past programs, check out the video archives at lifeandfaith.ca. And for those of you with mobile devices, you can also connect from this site to our new YouTube site.